I've had just about enough with classist rants written by snooty, upper middle class, privileged folk who have no idea what it means to want, let alone need. I came across an article called "If You Shop on Thanksgiving, You're Part of the Problem." I couldn't even get through it because my eyes were rolling out of my head. Yeah, blame the customer for the choices of the bloated corporations who choose to start Black Friday earlier and earlier every year. As if people are just dying to leave their families on Thanksgiving just to push through crowds and get deals. This wasn't the consumers doing, it was the corporations. They decided they wanted to extend the holiday to make more money, so they did that. And now the consumer and the employee are the ones who suffer. Let's talk about Walmart for a second, the corporation that I believe has played the biggest part in the destruction of the American economy. I was once unfortunately a Walmart employee, and I started the year they decided to start doorbusters at midnight. Prior to that, Walmart used to close their store for a few hours in order to prepare for the Black Friday rush, but this year we stayed open all night. Employees always had to come in for a few hours on Thanksgiving because they'd open their doors for the person who waited for the last minute to prepare, or the person who, say, forgot a can of cranberry sauce. Those who weren't working during opening hours had to come in while the store was closed to prepare for Black Friday. People still had to work the holidays, but the major difference was that their job didn't include back then keeping customers from trying to open the plastic around the $3 DVD displays. Back then, customers had to wait outside rather than inside, but the employees still had to be there to prepare for Black Friday. Besides, it wasn't just Walmart that kept their doors open. I could write an article that says, "If you stop to get gas on Thanksgiving, you're part of the problem." Because my first adult customer service job had me working every holiday for the people who didn't have the foresight to fill up their tanks the day before. Here this guy is lamenting the days when you could just relax and watch a football game, totally ignoring how many people it takes to bring the game to your television on Thanksgiving in order for you to enjoy it. Not to mention all the people it takes to make sure you have electricity to cook your Thanksgiving dinner. Maybe we should all just sit around and eat in the dark, roasting turkeys over a bonfire, just so that every last one of us can enjoy Thanksgiving with no distractions. We could actually talk to each other. It's an unfortunate side effect of customer service that you're going to get stuck working when everybody else is out partying. This includes weekends and holidays. And it's an unfortunate side effect of the capitalist society that this privileged twit romanticizes, that more and more people are being forced to work customer service because this freedom he thinks will lead to innovation actually just leads to abusive practices and job loss, which are crippling our society's economy. Instead of focusing on the root of the problem, he tweets from his iPhone how much he hates consumerism and how we don't do things like grow our own food, we have the audacity to buy it. Instead of villainizing those in power who are, not raising minimum wage, sending well-paying jobs overseas, creating this system which we couldn't grow our own food if we wanted to, he plays right into that narrative that blames the working poor for being poor and having no choice but to operate within a system that abuses the working poor. It's that same kind of ignorant high horse BS that blames the impoverished who are living in food deserts for not buying free-range, locally grown, organic meats and produce. Not everyone can afford to vote with their wallet. It's easy when you're sitting around in your warm house with the full-price flat-screen TV and your MacBook Pro that you could afford because you lived a privileged life full of opportunity to type away rants that question why anyone in their right mind would leave their family on Thanksgiving to buy things. Ignorant people like that don't realize that it's not really the TVs people are after. The top sellers are toys, clothes, and cookware. The target demographic are the working poor who want to see the smile on their children's face when they open up their presents on Christmas morning. Those parents don't want to be leaving their families on Thanksgiving in order to do that, but they wind up making sacrifices because Walmart, once again, set a standard that everyone else gets stuck living by. They go out looking for laptop bundles so that they or their children can do their homework. They go out because department stores have ridiculous deals on winter jackets, boots, and other necessities that they normally couldn't afford, which will save them from freezing this winter. They go out and get pots and pans and Tupperware so they might actually be able to cook their families a nice dinner every once in a while and store the leftovers so that they can eat well for a few days. Anyone who is talking flat-screen TVs has obviously never been on the front lines during Black Friday, has never found themselves in a position where they're working their butts off for very little money, and wanted to be able to afford something nice for a change. But go on, spew your bile all over the already struggling working poor for having the audacity to shop on a day when they can actually afford something they need, or heaven forbid, something nice. Keep painting those poor people as animals, playing right into the faux news method of pitting poor against the poor. Don't hold those who are actually in power accountable for ruining the holiday, which, by the way, is kind of ridiculous to romanticize considering it's a celebration of genocide, but that's a completely different rant for a different day. Why don't you get out from behind the computer and have the guts to go up to the single mother who is holding down 2 jobs to support her kids? Why don't you tell her she better risk missing the chance to buy her baby snowsuits because you think that she should be protecting your sacred traditions? The problem with this guy and guys like him is he's entirely too invested in theory. He doesn't notice the reality of the world around him, that we're not living in a just world. He bashes consumerism and calls it a fallacy to tie the phenomenon to capitalism. Sure, in theory, you could have a capitalist society without consumerism, just as, in theory, people could wait until 5 a.m. the day after Thanksgiving to start shopping, sticking it to the greedy corporations. But in reality, it's not that simple, and just winds up shaming the people who are already making the most sacrifices to uphold your privileged lifestyle. Thanks.